So with that, let me turn to the judges and going in alphabetical order. When I first saw the list and it started with Q for James Quick, I'm like, this should be in alphabetical order. But then I realized it was, and because we go from Q right on to S. So.
Okay. All right, so as Bruce said, my name is James Quick. I work for Microsoft as a technical evangelist. If you think you didn't hear that correctly, you probably did, and it sounds a little weird. So a technical evangelist, what I do is basically focus on mobile application development, and that's in the community kind of at large. So I work with students. I was here, as Bruce said, for the hackathon a couple of weeks ago as a mentor, startups in the community, and then just community events kind of at large. I was in South Florida for the past year and a half and just moved to New York City about a month and a half ago. Previously to that, I graduated with a degree in computer science and Spanish. Spanish was the reason I went down to Miami. And then, like I said, transferred up to New York and have gotten to know Bruce, worked with them at the hackathon a couple weeks ago, and looking forward to hearing what all of you guys have today.
Thanks. And before we move on to Ian, a prize early tweet from Colin O'Leary, another veteran.
Colin gets a shirt.
Okay, on to Ian Scott.
Thank you very much. My name is Ian Scott. Congratulations to the finalists. We're really looking forward to hearing what you have to say. I think I'm going to talk a little bit about, I said about, and that normally people, when I say about, they can tell that I'm Canadian. But I'm going to start from about 13 years ago when I entered the United States in New York and how I came to be an entrepreneur now. So I entered the United States. I'm a CPA at an MBA. I started working at an investment bank at Credit Suisse. So worked there primarily on writing accounting opinions for business transactions. So did that for a time, but then had a longing to go to law school, something I think that I'd always wanted to do. So ended up applying to law school, got accepted to Harvard Law School, moved to Cambridge, went to Harvard for 3 years, became a lawyer, went to a large Wall Street law firm, worked there for a little while, but then did another thing that I always wanted to do, become an entrepreneur, and I opened my own law firm. So now I have a law firm. We specialize in business immigration and have a number of lawyers and paralegals, et cetera, so it's great. In terms of how what I do kind of relates to kind of what we're going to hear, what we focus on is business immigration, and really that involves investors that are coming to the United States that want to start businesses in the United States, and a lot of them are tech startups. And what we help them to do is put together a package, including a business plan, where they're really pitching to the U.S. government that the business that they're going to set up in the United States is going to make money and hire U.S. employees, and that's why the government should give them the visa. And I think that's why our firm has been so successful, given my business background and how we put these packages together. In terms of one kind of final thing to note, when I was in law school, I loved law school so much that I wrote a book in my third year of law school, and a major publisher, Barron's Publishing, picked it up and published it last year. It's called Law School Lowdown, and the first, just as an aside, the second sentence of the book is my daughters. I have two 2.5-year-old daughters, and it's my daughters can do anything they want in this world as long as they go to law school first. But it's partly a joke. But
Thank you. No, and I told Ian, my wife is a lawyer, and we have a 11-year-old daughter, and my wife said you could do anything that you want as long as you don't go to law school. And that's the truth. So before we move on to David for the first photo tweet, Sheikh Ali, a cheerleader for Serial Strip. Where's Sheikh Ali? There you go. Okay, keep tweeting. Questions, pictures, and everything else. Okay, David, our PACE alumnus.
PACE alumni. I was mentioning to my panel members here that I happened to be here when this building was built. So it's a flashback for me. There's probably one or two of you that were here at that time, but I doubt it somehow. Anyway, I am a serial entrepreneur. I didn't start on this vein. As Bruce was saying, I graduated from Dyson. My aspiration was to be a biochemist and to cure the world of cancer, and it was really going well for a long time. I was working at Sloan Kettering. Things were looking great, going to graduate school, and I realized, hey, I'm not making much money doing this. So I did what any young person would do, which April is kind of doing on the side, is I said, I have a few extra hours in a day. Let me open a restaurant. So I did. I worked in the laboratories during the day, and I opened a restaurant on Madison Avenue at night, and that had a wonderful 10-year tenure, and it was really terrific, and it was fun, and I made money. And I said, well, it was funny. I had a meeting with a friend of mine who was the head of cardiology at the time at Beth Israel, and he said to me, the problem with what we do is we're shoemakers. We work on one pair of shoes at a time. And that was my first lesson in scalability. So what I did is I opened up a chain of restaurants. And I said, if I can do this once, I can do this many times over. Needless to say, I stopped working in the laboratories. So I was totally consumed by the entrepreneurial bug. Fast forward a few years, yes, I am very old, sold the restaurants, developed a restaurant chain, took it public, sold that off. Now I spend my life financing small businesses. Started in 2006 with a small team of people, 6 people. And as Ian was saying, you get bitten by that bug. You know, you can do certain things, but boy, it really gets you going. The first year we did $6 million in financings for small businesses. This year we are approaching $1 billion. We fund over 15,000 businesses with 5,000 active at any given time. And we're funding the unfundable. We look for the opportunity to provide financing to everyone that the banks will not fund. So we are what you read about these days, the alternative finance people. It's a very, very big avenue right now. So I'm really excited to hear what you all have to say. I'm happy to hear that there's so many people that are enthralled with being their own boss and getting that excitement from being in control of your destiny. And I love to hear what you all have to say. So, thank you.
Hey, thank you. And how about another prize for mentioning one of our guest professors? So, who tweeted about coming to class with Professor Eric Kessler? Is that Dion? Where's Dion? You can give this to your professor if you'd like.
That'll get you a higher grade.
All right. Thank you, David. And April Tam Smith to tell us a bit about her background, a little bit about life at Morgan Stanley and at a social venture.
Yeah, well, thanks so much for having me here. It's kind of a bit hard to go after so much wisdom that I just passed on, but I'll just tell you a little bit about myself. So I've spent the last 10 years at Morgan Stanley doing equity derivative sales trading, cover hedge fund, the normal, trading floor. Every day is different, every day is hectic. And similar to what David was saying, found myself after trading hours, maybe having an extra hour or two, and started going to Haiti and South Africa a lot, to the point where my boss started jokingly calling them haycations. So after a few of these haycations, I definitely feel my heart pull toward a lot of the people that I've met there, and actually their desire to work and the desire to make something for themselves. And whether it be serving here and speaking to homeless people or sex traffic victims, as well as Haitians in a slum, a resounding desire that I keep hearing is, I just want a job. It's not a hand out that they want, it's actually a hand up that they want. So that plus the amount of time and money that us on the trading floor probably, as you guys would know, spend on client dinners and client entertainment. So I was like, well, how can I combine my two worlds? So that's when I decided to create this vehicle, which is Lantern. All that it is, it's going to be a fun place for generosity to happen. It's a restaurant on 48th between 8th and Broadway. We want to use it as a place to hire the previously incarcerated, the sex traffic victims, the previously homeless people in our city, and then together we empower them, and every dollar that we make, it's going to go toward job creation projects in Haiti, in South Africa, in the places that we were just talking about. So the very first thing that we'll be funding, that's already half funded, it's a baby food factory in the northwest region of Haiti. So we get to hire the farmers, create really good products, plant trees, and most importantly, these baby food are going to be low cost, nutritious, where the Haitian mothers can afford to get these food for their babies. So that's one example of the reason why Lantern exists.
Okay, thank you, April. So that's a great judging panel. And again, the feedback, the questions that they asked, the feedback they provide at the end, I think will be helpful for everyone here.